We're here this morning with Robert and Alex Tomilowicz, who have a real nice operation, and we're going to be discussing the topic of livestock watering systems where they rely on a pump to basically move that water to where it's need to be done. So just to get a little bit of background, what is the type and scale of the operation that you have here as a partnership?
We milk 80 cows.
Okay.
We run anywhere from 20 to 25 dry cows. We buy in our replacements.
So,
we have a heifer grower that actually raises some of our heifer calves.
Okay. So it's a dairy operation, so
Yeah.
you're shipping fluid milk.
All fluid milk.
Okay. So the source that you developed, I mean, you've got multiple sources that you had prior to this point, but the source that you developed here is a drill well.
Drill well.
Okay.
I do have one pond that we put for one spot in the pasture that we put like a gravity fed system and for backup. And what I see is on a dry year, if I had 2 more tanks there, that pond would be empty. With this well, you have to have a good water supply with a pond. Of course you do with a well too, and this is a good well.
So this well you had developed specifically for the
Grazing.
livestock,
Right.
and the farm operation, not so much for the house or
No,
stuff like
this is
that.
all for the grazing.
Okay, dedicated system basically.
Yep.
Okay. And as far as some of the details, do you recall when it was drilled? What was the depth, the yield, or stuff like that?
I think it's like 280, and I had it pounded. The guy was very slow, but a pounder, you catch all your veins, and he figured around 12 gallons to the minute.
Okay, that was the yield.
And filling it up the first year took a lot of water. Several times it pumped 24 hours non-stop. All tanks were empty, filled them all up, and she just never went dry.
Okay, so that's
It's
pretty
a good water source.
Good indication you got lots of water here,
Right.
which you're blessed with. As far as the method of pumping, what's the pump consist of? I mean, there's various ways to pump water out of say a drill well. In this case, you relied on what?
I got a pump down. I can't remember exactly the high volume pump that's there, but I have a high pressure switch here that I have it maxed out because I am pushing water, I think well over a mile and up a pretty good hill.
So the pump here in this specific case is a submersible pump.
Right.
That's based at usually it's like 10, 20 feet off the bottom of the
Right.
well. And then it's pulling the water all the way up to the surface, and then of course out to feed that. You're pushing quite a bit, not only out horizontally but up vertically. So this kind of a pump is really, you're asking it to do a fair amount. Some of the features of this one, because this submersible pump is kind of the newer technology that has been applied, like for farmers that have upgraded their vacuum pump, and during milking time or right after it, you hear the whine. Rather than constant hum, it oscillates, goes up and down, and then it's what they call the variable speed technology on the motor, and it basically matches the load to what amount of electric power is being pushed into the motor itself. And that's the same kind of technology that's incorporated in this particular pump that your plumber installed for you. And so one of the distinguishing features here on the control, it's got this high-tech little black box. And
I think, because I know for a fact, I put another system for a friend of mine that's got a beef operation. We're pushing water with just a regular pump. The key thing is that pressure switch. That's what pushes. That's what
because
pushes.
you can regulate how much you want, how much pressure you want to put to it, all the way up to maxed out at like 110, 120 psi.
And what does it take to make that change?
To push it out?
To change the pressure?
Max it up. Just a push button down or up.
Just a little button, kind of like punch it in.
Punch it in.
Yeah. You got flexibility here then,
right?
In terms of the pressure to meet whatever your needs are in general. But one of the other distinguishing features that you have here, and if you compare it to some of the other drill well systems, this blue metal tank, the pressure tank, I mean, if you compare that in size relative to the other ones,
He's a little guy.
he's a little squirt. You know, he's
He's a
almost like
little
an
guy.
oversized
Yeah.
football or something like
Yes.
that. And the cost of something like that compared to a pressure tank that stands, you know, 2/3 of
Right.
our height, you've got some cost savings there relative to, again, that bigger tank that you would.
All it was the man who installed it.
Yeah.
It's all the difference, because I know the water bladder you're talking about,
Mhm.
they didn't need that monster. They could have done it with that.
Yeah. So.
And even when the bladder tank was bad, it still pumped water. All it was just coming on a little differently.
Mhm.
It's the pressure switch that really helps.
So.
That's the new bladder tank we put in last fall.
Okay. So this has been performing
Very well.
pretty much up to expectations.
Very well. I
And-
was scared in the beginning, yes.
Because it was new and different kind of
Well, you always worry about water going dry,
thing.
right?
Oh yeah.
And I was blessed with a good pump. I mean, well, like you said.
Now this is powered essentially from the grid, the electric
Yes.
from the grid. So
And if you think it takes a lot of electric, it does not.
Mhm.
I didn't even feel no difference
in the electric bill.
in an electric bill. You don't.
But the value of having water out there on demand to the livestock.
That's a good thing.
That's
That's
critical.
a good thing. They used to, like I said, I have dry cows in a dry lot. They have one nice creek they walk through. They will walk through it and go to the water tank. They like the water better. It's clean, and what's really been holding the milk production right there is good, clean water. You cannot beat good, clean water. They got the feed when they want to eat it. They got the shade and they got the water. What more do they want?
So I just want to wrap up. Any last minute suggestions or tips to other farmers? Otherwise, with
If there's anybody has any doubts in this, I mean, they shouldn't. This is a good system. I mean, you put the water tanks out there in a 200-acre field, suppose, in the worst corner that they never went to eat, and they never grazed it. You put that tank there, they'll chew it down.
so the
They'll
water
chew it down.
basically is a draw for them.
Yeah.
They need water.
Yeah.
We've
They
never
need
seen
water.
the pasture graze as well as it is. Since
Yeah,
we started
I
adding
used
a couple more
to-
tanks.
I used to clip my pasture, rake it up, and bale it up for bedding. That's how much waste I had. Now there's no waste because of the water system.
So you get more efficient grazing,
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
100% more.
which is a good thing. That's a
That's
good thing.
that's what it's about, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
That's what it's about.
Well, I want to thank you both, for taking time out of your busy day to kind of help pass along some of your experiences and, tips and, techniques and how it's worked for you to other farmers that might be interested in following in your footsteps.